Yeah, I think it's a privilege again for me to be able to talk to you in church. I thought maybe just for those of you that don't know me, just sort of a little bit of introduction about myself. So I'm Lee. I've lived in Bishop Stortford for a number of years. I was brought up in East London. Spent a lot of my sort of youth I sort of somehow managed to pass my 11 plus. That sort of ages me a little bit, and I went to an all-boys grammar school. I'm not sure that necessarily was the best thing for me when I look back on it, for sort of interacting with other people, especially women. And I ended up working up in London in the city for about 20 years, and although it was a sort of rewarding career financially, it wasn't really the real world, and I got sort of wrapped up in my own mental health issues and had a long battle with alcoholism, and I'm really grateful that through the love of God and through the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, sorry, can you hear me now? Is that better? Through the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, which the church has been very, very helpful and supportive with. We started running groups here during COVID. And that's what actually brought me to this church. And has brought me closer to God over the last couple of years, which has been amazing. And so after my battle with alcoholism and various other jobs, I left the city because I just, I had to make a decision. We talk about stress and mental health, and Tony was talking so much about how it links in physical health, mental well-being, emotional well-being, all linking together. And for my emotional, mental well-being, I needed to change my work. And I retrained in my late 40s, and I'm now a qualified psychotherapist. I've worked in both the sort of NHS NHS-funded places where I've worked with people that had the option of either going to prison or rehab. Worked with homeless people. And I've also worked with the rich and famous. I now actually currently work for a private mental health organisation. So mental health affects everybody. Everybody in this room will have suffered at some stage with their mental health. Even people say, "Oh no, I never suffer." Well, I think some people only suffer slightly, and other people suffer a lot more because they've got other things going on for them. They've got some people born with neural pathways that don't quite function in the way that they do for everybody else, and have all sorts of ongoing issues such as OCD, ADHD, bipolar, all these sort of diagnoses. And I work. I've moved away from working with addictions, and I work with a lot of people that are suffering with those sort of diagnoses, and in particular I work with a lot of people suffering what is now called emotionally unstable personality disorder, or what used to be known as borderline personality disorder. And there's lots of traits to that, and I know I've got some of them for sure, and I have to work on myself and work on those. And Ruth was talking about last week about the mind and thoughts, and quite often we're driven by our thoughts, or we feel we're driven by our thoughts. And we have tens of thousands of thoughts a day. Some of them we don't even realise we're having, but they're just thoughts. They don't make us. We don't have to act on them all. If I look at some of my thoughts, might be a little bit, not mad, but a little bit dark maybe sometimes, but it doesn't mean I'm going to act on them, and some of them might be me trying to anticipate things, and that can lead to an emotional reaction. And what I really wanted to talk today about is emotions. And I was feeling a lot of emotion during the worship songs, so thank you Ruth, Ian and Joe for the worship songs this morning. I was feeling a lot of love, and I don't know if you was, I'm sure you were listening to the words, but if you wasn't, there was a lot of times love came up on the screen today. And that's a beautiful emotion. In fact, all the emotions are beautiful. Lots of people say, some emotions are negative. Some emotions I don't want those emotions. And my belief is, and I think through God, and I'll try to link it in with some passages from the Bible, But I also want to try and link into so let everybody know that all emotions can be positive. And it's really important. Well, it's been important for me to learn to be able to be vulnerable and learn to listen to my emotions. And rather than trying to block them out, which I did for years, I tried to block them out through alcohol and other means. And that meant, I did sometimes block out sadness and fear and anger, but I also blocked out love and joy and happiness. And now that I'm free from that, I can experience love and joy and happiness. I still experience sadness sometimes. Sometimes I experience anger. Sometimes I experience fear. And sometimes those emotions will affect me more on certain days than others. Like, for example, today I was up late. I picked up my partner from the airport last night, and the flight was delayed, and didn't get to bed till about 2:00. She was going to come and join us today, but he's still sleeping, and that's okay because we need our rest, And so I know when I'm tired, or hungry, or lonely, I can react to my emotions a bit quicker sometimes, and that's not always a good thing. And one of the reasons why we need emotions is a bit of a clue, actually, in the word emotion, motive. It's emotive. They're designed to tell us something. They're designed to tell us to do something. But I can remember from my past, some of what I thought it was telling me to do, or my emotions were telling me to do, was to actually do things that were destructive for myself and maybe for people around me, because I wasn't listening to the proper message that the emotions were giving me. And I'd lost contact with God, so I'd lost contact with one part of love. I mean, love is multifold, isn't it? There's really 4 types of love. There's the love of God and the spiritual love. There's the romantic love. There's the family love. There's the love of family, which is often unconditional, even though sometimes, we can't choose our families, can we? But we still love them. And then one of the most beautiful loves that I've discovered is the love of friendship and fellowship. And God tells us, doesn't he, to love everybody. God loves everybody. And I think that's really, really been really important for me to know and understand. Tony was talking about when he was, a young Christian, the searching, looking for God. And I can remember when I came into AA and came into recovery, part of the program there to help recovery is to get a closer contact with a power greater than myself. And I was searching for God. I was trying to find God everywhere. And then I actually realised, God's not lost. I've just got to open up my heart and let him in. And that was the love, because I'd not experienced love for so long. Really, proper love, unconditional love, healthy love. I was experiencing lust and all that sort of parts of it. And so once I was able to allow God in, it's enabled me to love myself more and then be able to love others. And that was part of the reason that got me into a change of career and wanting to work with other people and wanting to work in mental health and trying to help people. And so, as I said, I was going to look at some of the emotions, but I just wonder if maybe you can have a little think, actually. Would you describe yourself more as somebody who spends more time in rational mind, i.e. a logical, practical, quite cool, calm, but you may be blocked from your emotions a little bit? Or would you describe yourself as an emotional person, where you're maybe sometimes away from reality and rational? Or do you swing, because I used to swing from the extreme logic to the extreme emotion. So I was never anywhere in the middle. Right? And the middle part, where we've got our rational side of our brains, haven't we? And we've got our emotional sides of the brain. But bringing them together can be quite difficult at times. And that's the wise mind, when we manage to bring both the rational and the emotional mind together. And for me to get into wise mind, I need to be calmer. I need to be quieter. And that's when I can allow God in. Yeah? Because if I don't allow God in, I've got no guidance. That's the wise mind, isn't it? Asking for help. Like our friend, on the Facebook Messenger, or whatever, reaching out, asking for help. I'm depressed, I'm sad, somebody, please help me. And we can pray for her, can't we? Which we did. So that's a more wise mind reaction, isn't it? Rather than, I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling sad and lonely, I don't want to get out of bed, I just want to duvet dive, maybe Netflix binge, I don't want to get involved with world, It's all too much. Yeah? It's all too much, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And that for me is a really good, not a good sign, but it's a sign that if, that my mood is maybe dropping. So that's when I've got to do the sort of opposite action. Get up, get out of bed, make contact with people, come to church, go and do something kind for somebody. Then I feel better about myself. And then slowly my mood increases. But when I was stuck in addictions and stuff, I was full of fear, and that's one of the the sort of big. There's about 8 or 9 core emotions. There's different words you can describe fear. It can be panic, can't it? Or it could just be a bit of nervousness, a bit of anxiety. Could be nervous excitement. I don't know. And we're going away on holiday. Lots of people have gone on holiday this week. There's that excitement, but there's also a bit of anxiety, isn't there, about going to the airport? Have I got my tickets? And all now, is my phone going to be charged up enough so I can check in, because it's all done on the phone now? Have I got my wallet? Have I got my passport? Have I got my COVID pass? There's a lot to worry about, isn't there? Yet you're going on something that is going to be enjoyable, but there's still some nerves attached to it. And that's okay. That's the good part of fear, isn't it? Because it motivates us to check that there's nothing wrong. And fear is designed to tell us that there might be some danger. And if I had no fear, if I was fearless, I couldn't cross the road safely, could I? For example. So fear is sometimes, it can be a positive emotion as well, because it encourages us to sometimes maybe face our fears. Standing up in front of people and talking, for example, can sometimes be something that I feel fearful of, but it's something I feel I want to do and need to do. So sometimes we have to approach what we're afraid of. Or sometimes it might be that it's that simple fight or flight. Fear might, the urge to run might be the safest thing for us to do. So it's okay to be a little bit fearful, and fear can be good. Because if we overcome one of our fears, it makes us feel better about ourselves, doesn't it? It makes ourselves feel happier. What about anger? Who gets angry? Yeah? Who gets angry very quickly? No one's going to admit to that one, right? Okay. But we get angry. Why do we get angry sometimes? Injustice, yeah. Bad driving. A goal that we want is blocked, and that could be by bad driving, because we end up being late for where we want to go to because of bad driving. Or it could be that somebody we care about is under threat, or is insulted, So anger is then designed to drive us to do something, isn't it? Maybe to fight back. Or it might actually encourage us to overcome the obstacles. It might encourage us to look for problem solving. And with anger, it's if people suppress anger, I don't know, because an angry outburst isn't nice, is it? You always feel, well, I don't know about you, but I feel quite guilty and shameful if I've got really angry and shouted at somebody, like maybe one of my children, or there's a bit of road rage or whatever. And if I suppress it, or if I still carry that anger for too long, it turns into bitterness and resentment, and can turn into depression. Depression is often suppressed anger. And I wondered, Jim, if you could just give me Ephesians 4:26, which talks about anger. And it says, if you anger, do not sin. So try not to sin when we're angry. Do not let, I love this line, do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. You know, we need to release it, don't we? Yeah? Because if I go to bed with the anger, I'm going to wake up with it. And then I'm going to carry on being angry for another day and another day. And the more angry I get, and it builds up and up and up, the more likely it is I'm going to sin. Yeah? And I want to avoid that. So let's release the anger. You know, it can be done in a healthy way. We could be, I don't know about you, who's a people pleaser in you? Who wants to do everything? Yeah? Yeah? And then sometimes we feel a little bit angry because we feel like we've been put on because I've done everything. Don't you know how important I am? I've done all of this and no one's recognising me and I get angry. You know, so maybe I could use that anger to encourage me to say no sometimes. So that can be a positive thing from anger and a healthy use of anger. You know, I think, take my mind back to when we was in COVID and we've got like the 2 metre sort of rule and, you know, I might be in the supermarket and somebody gets in the way. You know, that makes me feel a bit angry because they're in my space. So, but all I've got to do actually is just step back or ask them politely to, you know, So anger is designed to tell me something too. Yeah? And, you know, there's so many confusing emotions and sometimes we're experiencing more than one at the time. And anger is a really good, it's an easy emotion to display, isn't it? I don't know about you, but if I'm quite sad or disappointed because something's been blocked, you know, it's easy for me to express anger at it. You know, maybe I've gone for a new job interview, and I think I've interviewed really well. I'm clearly the best candidate, yet I don't get the job. So I'm sad. I'm disappointed that I haven't got the job. But my first reaction will be anger. Well, how dare they? You know, don't they know I'm the best applicant? You know, how dare they not give me the job? So the first reaction for me is anger, but actually the real emotion I'm feeling is sadness and disappointment. But I can use that sadness and disappointment to motivate myself to maybe interview better next time, you know, or prepare better. And this also comes out with envy sometimes, don't we? We're envious of other people's careers or life, you know. Oh, that's a horrible emotion, envy. But it can be used for us to improve if we can overcome it, and if we don't actually... Who compares themselves to other people all the time? Yeah? That's going to lead to envy sometimes, isn't it? Especially how we're doing it, because I don't know about you, Ian, but when I used to compare myself, I was always either much less than them, or if I'm being a little bit egotistical, and I thought I might be vastly superior to them. You know, I could swing from one to the other very quickly, and that made my emotions go round and round and round and round, and so I would be, you know, envious of them. So I call it compare and despair. You know, why bother comparing yourself with other people? Just be you. But society encourages us to compare, doesn't it, with social media and, you know, and I think it's even harder for younger people today than when I was sort of studying and going to school and stuff. There's so much comparison. There appears to be so much social and environmental pressure to go to university, to get good grades, to do this, to be, to be happy all the time. You know, so so I think I don't envy the youth of today. I'd like to be younger. Yeah, I would like to be a lot younger than I am now, because I'm sort of at the end of my career and contemplating retirement and all that, and that's really lovely. But you know, I'd love to be younger, but I'd like to be younger knowing what I know now, and that's not possible, is it? You know, so I've got to experience all of my life to be where I am now. You know, so that I can experience all of these emotions. You know, and especially love and happiness. You know, I feel quite blessed now. It's been a long time, but that I've found love, all four of those loves, you know, and I've got it in abundance. I'm really lucky, you know. I'm really, really lucky, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And gratitude is a really positive state of mind or emotion. You can call gratitude an emotion, actually, if you like, and it's a really good one for overcoming any envy. Just be grateful for what you have got, rather than being ungrateful for what you haven't got, or being envious of what somebody else has got. We don't have to take it away from them, do we? Let's just be pleased that they've got that. And with jealousy, which is different from envy. Jealousy, we want to control everything because we're fearful of losing it. We might be fearful of losing a person to somebody else, or fearful of losing a job. We become jealous, and we want to stop the other people being successful, or we might want to control people. But I want to talk a little bit more about love, because that's not what we're here for, but for me, is the most beautiful of the emotions, and by being able to look at all the other emotions in a positive way, it enables me to feel more loved and to be able to give out love. And Jim, if we could have John 1:4-16. So it says, and so we know and rely on love, the love that God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. So by being able to love everybody else and love myself, I've received God's love. Yeah, and I love God back, and it's all part of the process. I need to be able to be open to let God into my life and to guide me, and not want to control things, not want to play God myself. To look back and just reflect and just take time. For me, if I pause and think rather than just react, my life is so much easier. And that's what I pray for anybody else who's struggling with their emotions at the moment, is to just pause and reflect, have a bit of time with God, have a bit of time with a trusted friend, seek support and advice. Can't do it on our own. Absolutely, I've tried that for years, trying to sort my life out on my own, my emotions and my faith and everything else. I was going to do it all on my own. And it just doesn't work. Well, it didn't for me. It just didn't work. And so I ended up stuck in fear all the time. So Jim, if we could have John 1:4-18. There is no fear in love. Right? I used to fear love because I was fearful of losing it. When I got it, I was always fearful of losing everything. So if I had things, I was fearful of losing them. But there is no fear in love. But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made in perfect love. Now, that doesn't mean to say we can't be anxious. I've talked about the need for us to be anxious, but that dread, I don't know if you've ever really experienced it. I'm sure we probably all have, but that dread when the fear is just like everything's just... We're shut. Well, I know I am when I'm in that mood. I'm shut away from love. I'm wanting to do the duvet diving again, and to not be. But my life has changed. I feel quite privileged that I work in a field where I can help other people if they're willing. I'm a great believer in that we need. I think that we need. Sometimes we need people in our lives to help us through the difficult times in mental health. We need the doctors and the psychiatrists to provide the medication that might just balance some of these neural pathways that are maybe a bit wonky. We need the therapists. I'm not trying to promote the therapy, but we need the therapists. We need therapy. I think everybody needs therapy, even if it's just that or a mentor or a guide, a human mentor or guide alongside them. So I think we need that, and we need God. We need faith. We need faith in a God of our own understanding. Whatever faith that is that you have. And I know I need all three of those. For a long time I needed some medication to help me with my mental health. I'm pleased to say I don't have any mental health medication anymore. I have some physical health ones, because I'm getting old, so I need those. But and even though I offer therapy, part of my training and work and requirement is that I have my own therapy on a regular basis. Because sometimes there's things that come up in my therapy sessions that really trigger me, that trigger things that have happened to me. So I need to look after myself to be able to help other people. And I need faith and fellowship, because that keeps me safe, it keeps me connected, and it keeps me in wise mind, which I was talking about earlier. So then I'm balanced between the emotional mind and the rational mind. And I just want to finish on some, so that for me, keeping things simple, keeping things in the day, keeping things in the moment, my life is easier. And there's a part. This comes from the Fellowship of AA. It's a Just for Today card, and this little card has sort of saved my life. And then I want to finish with a little prayer. So it says, just for today, I will try to live through this day only, and not tackle my whole life problems at once. I can do something for 12 hours that would appall me if I felt I had to keep it up for a lifetime. Just for today, I will be happy. Yeah? Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. And this is the thing with our thoughts and emotions. We can control them. We're not driven by our thoughts and our emotions. Right? We can control them. We can regulate them. Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is, and not try to adjust everything to my own desires. I will take my luck as it comes and fit myself into it. It's acceptance, isn't it, of what's happening in the day. Just for today, I will try to strengthen my mind. I will study. I will learn something useful. I will not be a mental loafer. I will read something that requires effort, thought and concentration. Maybe we've done that bit today by attending church and listening. And just for today, I will exercise my soul in 3 ways. I will do somebody a good turn and not get found out. If anybody knows of it, it will not count. I will do at least 2 things I don't want to do today. Just for exercise, I will not show anyone that my feelings are hurt. They may be hurt, but today I will not show it. I think I might need to go and talk to people about it, but I'm not going to react. Just for today, I will be agreeable. I will look as well as I can. I will dress becomingly. Talk low, act courteously. Criticise not one bit. Not find fault with anything. Not try to improve or regulate anybody except myself. That's quite hard, isn't it? Sometimes, these are ideals, Just for today, I have a programme, and I may not follow it exactly, but I will have it. I will save myself from the 2 pests of hurry and indecision. We seem to live in a very busy life, don't we? And sometimes there's so many directions to go in that I can become quite indecisive because I don't know which way to go and which way to turn. So I'll try to just slow down a little bit, and that will help me to be more decisive. Just for today, I will have a quiet half hour to myself and relax. During this half hour, sometime I will try to get a better perspective of my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. Especially, I will not be afraid to enjoy what is beautiful and to believe that as I give to the world, so the world will give to me. I read this every day. Yeah? I try to do most of that every day. Sometimes, to be truthful, I probably don't do all of that every day. It's quite a big task. But if I can just do some of them, I'm doing good in the world and I'm feeling better about myself. And as I say, I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank Tony and Jim for the opportunity to talk to you guys again. I hope you've got something from that. I would just like to finish with my favourite prayer, and a prayer that sort of helped me and has sort of saved my life. Some of you will know it. It goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. And as I learnt from Jim on Tuesday evening, when we all say amen, it means we actually agree to do it. Yeah? So Maybe just try some of that just for today. Thank you.